This is an Ellis Mowers and Mower small engine repair. Stay connected on Instagram and Facebook at Ellis Mowers and More. Comments or questions? Leave them below or email me, ellis@ellismowers.com. Parts used in today's repair are found using the links in the description below. And as always, like and subscribe for more small engine content. On today's repair video, we've got something that is relatively familiar to the channel if you have been watching. I've made a video or two about this in the spring of 2023, or 2024, excuse me. The winter of 2023, spring of 2024. This is a mower that I got in a lot of 4 machines over the winter, last winter. Now, I sold it. I had to replace a deck spindle because the deck spindle housing broke on it right after I've sold it to the lady. Luckily, she's like 5-6 minutes up the road, and so I brought it back, put a deck spindle on it, put a new deck belt on it for her as well, and didn't hear from her all year. So got a good season out of it. But she said at the end of last season, it started smoking really bad and then shut off. Now, I'm hoping that it's not the engine. Already done a visual inspection. I'll show you what I think it is here in a second. But it's locked, like it won't move. And when I check the oil, it's got a little oil. It's not completely out, but it's below the add mark. So I was hoping that this thing's not blown up. I don't think it's blown up. After looking at it, I thought that it might be, but I don't think it is, which is a good thing. So I'm going to show you why I don't think it's blown up, and then hopefully we're going to get this thing fixed here in this video. So I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll see what happens here next. So as you can see, this thing's been used pretty decently. The lady's got a decent sized yard, so you can see that it's gotten some good use out of it. I think she paid me like $300 for this thing. So, and I fixed the deck spindle on it for no charge, since it happened like immediately after she bought it from me. So if you look down here, I don't know if you can see that PTO clutch is cocked a little to the side. So what I'm thinking has happened is that this PTO clutch has failed in some way, like some magnets have quit and it's just locked in place. The weird thing is though, like it turns really easily. So I'm thinking that the bearings in the PTO clutch have gone out. So I'm gonna get this in the garage here next, get it on the jacks, get it on the lift, and we'll take this PTO clutch off and we'll see if this engine turns again after this. So again, you can see that I was the one that serviced it. I got a Hipa oil filter on it when I had a bunch of Hipa oil filters back last winter. And I mean, honestly, the oil is clean and it's running. I mean, it was running great whenever I sold it to her. It's just a little low. While it's here, I'm going to go ahead and service it for her as well. Blade wise, let's take a look. I don't think I put blades on it. I can get one more sharpening out of them. But another thing I've got to battle is somebody took the spark plug out. As you can see, they did something where the plug is stripped inside. So I'm hoping that the actual threads in the spark plug haven't stripped to the point where I can't use them anymore. So I'll probably throw a plug in it as long as I know this thing will turn. I did throw a bunch of WD-40 down in it originally, thinking that that was the problem, but I noticed when I moved it, you see that blue wire right there? That blue wire moved and the whole PTO clutch would move on the bracket, but it wouldn't turn any past that. So that's what I was thinking, or that's when I got to thinking, oh, I wonder if the PTO clutch went bad, and then I saw where it's kind of angled to the side down there. So let me get on the lift and we'll take PTO clutch off, and hopefully this thing turns again. So we're going to take this off here next. I got to lock down. Okay, we are locked down. I just didn't put the safety catch on the jack here. And you can see it right there through the middle. I've already taken the belt off. One thing you can see is this right here looks like it's been kind of twisted over like it's not supposed to be. So I want to take this off and just see what's going on with it. Hopefully it'll come off without much of a fight. Oh, and it's not going to. Alright, so like I said, this is not going to be the best. I'm going to unplug it from over here. Let's see. Alright, so we're unplugged. And now I got to get this thing off somehow. I'm thinking that the bearing's seized up in there. Let's see. Ugh. I'm not sure exactly how to go about this, but we'll see if we can just... There we go. If it ain't broke now, I guess it is now. But let's see what we've got. Oh yeah, this is definitely the issue. So, if you can see down in there, right here, this bearing has gone out. So, that's too bad. Even got the old sticker on it, Warner Electric. So I can cross-reference that right there and get what I need. And I will bet to venture that this engine turns now. Yes, that's great. That's awesome. So, PTO clutch, not bad. It's just a little pricey. I got one on this STX, but you know, same age, unless this PTO clutch is newer, which I doubt it. So I'd rather, you know, the rest of the mower's good. So and that PTO clutch looks bad, so I'm gonna find one for that. I'm hoping that it doesn't cost much more than about $100 just for her sake. It'd be unfortunate to put, you know, that much money in it, but you know, things like this happen. So what I've got to do now is figure out how I'm going to get, if I can get a spark plug back in here, because somebody has stripped the threads out of the plug, unfortunately, to a degree. So I'm going to see if I can throw a plug in this thing, and hopefully there's enough threads to hold on to it. I'll get it set back down, and we'll make sure that it runs and everything. I'll top it off with oil. Like I said, the oil looks really clean, so I'll just top it off with oil, and we'll see if everything's good on it after that. Well, here is the inner workings of a Toast PTO clutch, as you can see right there. There is a shaft that you have to get off, like a little, almost like a coupler shaft, that I literally had to knock out of there. One of the bearings ended up getting stuck on the skinny part of this. Then I don't know what's happened to the battery though. Even though this battery's only 2 years old, it's got, I don't know if it got so hot, them trying to start it, that they melted the terminal of the battery or something like that. But what I need to do now, I'm just checking the starter solenoid. I don't see any visible damage to the solenoid. But what I'm going to do is hook up a jump box to it after I top off the oil with maybe about 8 or 12 ounces is about what it needs. And we'll see if this thing will kick over and run again. Again, like I said, it is spinning again, which is good. So hopefully that's the case. Like I said, she said that it like smoked so bad, and she got it to park, but she couldn't get it cranked after that. So need to throw a little bit of oil in this and I'll hook a jump box up to it because I'm going to go buy some batteries tomorrow. I don't want to take it out of any machines here for the time being, and we'll see if this thing will come to life. All right, I got the jump box hooked up to it. I'm going to see if this thing will run for us. Hopefully it will. Kicked right over, didn't it? That's great. Gotta make sure the drive and everything's good since this PTO clutch is over $100. I just want to make sure everything's straight on it before I send it, or before I buy one of them. So it's one of them situations where you might think, oh, my engine's locked up, right? Not so much the case on this. Just checking the air filter. That looks good. I mean, you can see this mower's been used a little bit. I don't necessarily think it's been abused by any means. It was just a little low on oil, which is pretty typical for a mower like this age. So what I'm going to do is order a PTO clutch. We'll put it on there, make sure everything works, and we'll send it back to her. Put a battery on it as well for since that other battery has a melted terminal. But luckily it doesn't look like there's any damage to any other electrical components, so we'll take it. So I found a battery laying around. I went ahead and put this in mainly because I wanted to make sure everything was charging. If y'all remember last year, I glued the flywheel magnets onto this. That's a common Kohler issue. As you can see, it's charging at 14 volts still, so it's still doing the thing, which is great. We'll get the PTO clutch on it next. Alright, so I got the new PTO clutch on, and this is what it looks like. Voila. So the best way to go about this, because there is a little locking pin right there that you have to get the PTO clutch into. Now, the best way I went about this is I attached the little collar there to the PTO clutch, and then turned the PTO clutch with that to get it lined up with the keyway on the shaft. Was able to slide it up there and get it on there fairly easily, easier than some, and plugged it in. The pigtail was a little bit damaged, I think, from heat, and so I spliced a new pigtail here, or actually came with a pigtail and then just spliced the existing wiring to accommodate it and tied it up there. So this mower, I mean, like I said, she paid me like $300 for this thing. So, and got a whole season out of it, and I didn't even hear anything from it. I checked, it was March 22nd of last year. So, got a whole season out of it. A 35-year-old PTO clutch, I mean, it's just part of the deal sometimes. So, not too bad. But we'll get this thing down. The rest of the machine looks good. Like I said, the oil was just a little bit low. I've topped the oil off for her. It's still very clean. So, I think it's good. So we'll set it down. Hopefully everything works correctly here next. All right, guys, I'm going to pull it out here. See if everything works like it's supposed to. Run it up and down the driveway a couple times, clean out the stuff from underneath the deck, and we'll finish this video up. That worked. But it's still the premise. Kind of looked like the engine was locked up, but the PTO clutch was what was causing the issue. So there we go, guys. Got it ready to go for the season. New PTO clutch in. I mean, like I said, this mower ain't much, but everything works on it. So, I mean, the only thing that was keeping it down was that PTO clutch. Again, you cannot fault a 35-year-old PTO clutch for going out and seizing a bearing. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. I originally thought that it was something else, where it was, she said it was smoking really bad, and then it cut off on her, but she got it back to the wherever she keeps it parked at. So I thought it was maybe like the carb or the fuel pump had given way, and then when I got there and found the engine was locked up, I'm like, oh no. So because for her sake, I didn't want, you know, people are on budgets, right? I didn't want to have to give her a bad prognosis after, you know, her only having it for a year. It was just a little low on oil. These Kohler commands are really, really resilient, and turns out there's absolutely nothing wrong with the engine. It runs great. So it ended up being the PTO clutch. But just wanted to put this video out there because I didn't want anybody to be deceived. If somebody tells you that you have a bad engine on your machine, check your PTO clutch. You could see visually on this one that it was a little bit sideways, and that the magnets and the pulley were not really properly aligned, and that's what led me to think that the bearing had gone bad in it, and sure enough it was. So put a PTO clutch on it. It's ready to go, hopefully for the season and many more seasons. Hopefully she can get a few more good years out of this machine. Again, the fact that it's just missing the hood is the worst part about it. The rest of the machine's in pretty decent shape. The deck's very solid for what it is. I put either 1 or 2 spindles on it last year. Right after I sold it to her, it broke, and so I just covered that. Now we put a PTO clutch on it. It's just, like I said, kind of wear and tear items for a machine that's this old. But even the budget John Deeres, like this STX, shows you how resilient these things are, these old John Deeres. I think this thing was still over $2,000 new, and that was considered a budget John Deere at the time. So it's kind of interesting how things have changed over time. But either way, this thing's fixed, gonna go back. Hopefully we don't see it again until it needs to be serviced in a year's time, I suppose. So I thank y'all for watching. Hopefully y'all found this video helpful, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.